Hello everyone, welcome to another series of National Institute of Public Finance and Policy Golden Jubilee podcast. So, as we celebrate 50 years of the Institute, I am excited to host a leading light in public finance and fiscal policy. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Govinda Rao, former director of NIPFP, member of 14th Finance Commission, and author of numerous influential works. Dr. Rao insights have shaped India's economic landscape for decades. So, welcome, Dr. Rao.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so we'll start from the early days of your joining as a lecturer in 1977. So, how do you, your journey from there is really very inspiring. So, can you shed light on that early days when you joined here as a lecturer in 1977?
Yeah, no, it was a very challenging times, I would say, because I'm not sure whether I formally applied for the job, but I did my PhD from an obscure place called Sambalpur University. And Sambalpur University is not a place where people would be attracted to. But then there are two factors at work. One is, on an earlier occasion, I had worked with Professor Lakhdawala, who by then was the chairman of NIPFP. And he might have put in a word saying that I know this fellow since Dr. Chelaya was looking for people with some background, public finance background. And the other one was, I happened to, since I didn't have a great background, I thought the best way to make up is to write and publish.
Okay.
By the time I had already a note published in Public Finance, Financial Publics, and a couple of articles in Economic and Political Weekly.
Okay.
And Dr. Chelaya was very impressed with the article in Economic and Political Weekly. So he sent a telegram to me asking me to attend an interview. I attended an interview and I joined the institute on 5th of December 1977.
Okay.
The institute was not in this impressive building. It was in a rented place, in a place called Rajendra Place, in a building called Gagandeep.
Okay.
There were 2 floors, 2nd and 4th. So we were all placed in the 4th floor, and Dr. Chelaya's office was in the 2nd floor. And there were very few people in that sense of the term. There was one professor, 2, we never used to call them professors. Those days they used to call senior fellows.
Okay.
2 fellows, 4 senior economists, and 5 economists.
Okay.
And I was the junior most among the economists.
Okay.
Other 4 economists had not done their PhD. In that sense, I was the one who had submitted the thesis.
Okay.
I didn't get the degree yet. But he protected my salary by saying that, he gave 4 increments. So that is, I'm not completely out of the scene. But he had seen me, Dr. Chelaya was a shrewd person. He looked at the bargaining power of the person. He saw that there was not much of bargaining power. So he would come anyway. So obviously I was there. The initial years were very challenging. There were no proper set of rules. And, some of the senior people had inferiority complex. And they would not like anybody to assert. And then I was one of those persons too independent right from the beginning. So I was not very much liked. So to build a rapport with the system, it took quite a considerable amount of time. But when I finished the first work after about 6 months, which is a work on, that a group of people did it. And Chelaya called me and said that he is going to put his name first and all others' name according to alphabetical order. It's on trends and issues in Indian federal finance. There is a small book there, published by the Allied Publishers. So my name is the last one. But then he liked the chapters I wrote. So from there, I think the things were smooth. It's very strange. For the first 3 years, I continued to be an economist. And in the meantime, we had Ford Foundation fellowships. And many others were sent, not me. But then he had given respect because, I was quite analytical right from the beginning. So he used to discuss these issues. And finally, after 3 years, he said, I'm sending you to whichever place you want to go for a year, and your salary will be paid. It's a Ford Foundation fellowship. And but you have to give me a moral undertaking that once you come back, you will be here for 3 years. By that time, I had become a senior economist. So I went there. I agreed. I went. And then he would never allow me to, there was one occasion where I wanted to quit and go, but then he would not let me. Moral undertaking. He would. But the strange thing that happened was that at some point of time he called me and said that, look, really that you should move up. But then, there is a person senior to you, I want to give him a chance. So you have to wait for 6 months. But if you insist, because I don't want to lose you, if you insist, I will make. I said, no, I want to wait for my turn. There is no hurry. So after 6 months, after returning, I was made the senior fellow. In the meantime, Dr. Chelaya was going to Zimbabwe as the chairman of the Tax Reform Commission. He wanted me to accompany him to set up the research system there. So I went to Zimbabwe with him. And in 1984, he moved to the Planning Commission as a member. And after about 3 months, he calls me from there and saying that, Govinda, time to move up. This was just about 6 months after I became a fellow. Then I said, I'm not ready. It's only 6 months. He said, that's not for you to decide. It's for you to decide. We have delayed your earlier this thing, but now I am not going to delay. Because I don't want to lose you. I said, no, you should get more people with better knowledge and things like that. He said, you give me the names. I gave him a name called one Ganti Subramanian from the NIPFP. And he said, you write to him. So I wrote to him. He said he will come, but later, he wrote back saying that no, he has to go abroad. But whatever be it, so one fine morning he calls me and says that you have been made a senior fellow. So it didn't take more than 7 years from economist to the professor. That was, he's a remarkable man in that sense. And I never asked for anything. I never was prepared for it.
Your early years have been shaped by the mentorship. So how do you really
I don't know. There was a sort of love-hate relationship, I must say. He hated my guts because I would stand up and argue. And there was nobody who would argue with him. But he liked me. He liked me because, there was nothing. There were several occasions where he would get very angry. And then after some time he would come and say, Govinda, I wanted to tell you something about. That's the way it was. He's a great man. And his focus wasn't how to write. One is understanding of things. His focus was, he gave as much a focus to writing, a clear, simple English, as much to clear economics. And And then we had an agreement that anything that I write, he would have to read. And this
Okay.
continued even after so even after 1991.
Yeah.
Because I always wanted that somebody has to, sort of vet it and see, tell me.
So, to build on that, what were the interesting work that time that you were involved in the early years? What were the work that you were interested in, or important areas of work that you together build on?
I said any work that is given to me, I will do. The initial thing was that. Then suddenly, one day he said, this is 1978. He said, you go and do a training program in Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow.
Okay.
And he's the youngest, most junior fellow. And you have to do it alone. And there was an administrative assistant called Balla who used to assist me.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a budgetary projection. These are the things that builds confidence in you as
Absolutely.
well as, on
Yeah.
them. Then when I, this study in federal finance, then I went abroad. Then he said there was a project on alternates to octa in Gujarat. So that was then, there is a book on that. And any project that came, the interesting thing was at some point of time, there was a project from the Minister of Finance on the excise duty evasion in certain commodities. So I said that, I get me such and such a person to work with me. So you got him. Say, do that. So I did this work on excise duty evasion in cotton textiles. That required a lot more of economics, much more than that investigation.
Yeah.
And it was very well received. In fact, Richard Byrd later saw that and told me that, Govinda, this is the project which doesn't give you much of an academic recognition, but this is the type of work that is absolutely necessary for policy. That's the type of thing.
Yeah.
And he was very proud of, and at any point of time there would be several projects. He would not let me go on holidays.
Okay.
On one occasion when I went, my family insisted when I went to this thing, he said, those days I was not entitled to travel by air. He said, now you, from your place, you go to Bangalore and take a flight and come back so that you can save 3 days. That's, so he would not let to. And
That's
when
the
I come
faith he
back,
had on you
yeah,
for everything.
when I come back, he would say that, Govind, the finance minister from Punjab had come and he wanted us to do the study. He said, I told him that you and I will do the study.
Okay.
So, which basically means you will do the study. So, he came with me to Punjab and Chandigarh. Similarly, there was some agreement when he was in the planning commission with the chief secretary of Kerala. He said, Govind will do the study. So, the point is that confidence. And at some point of time, I was getting very angry. I said that every time the project comes, you put it on me. What is this? Then he said, yes, I will put it. Because you finished work in time, so you will get more of it. It's as simple as that. And we used to have Dr. Shankaracharya doing the study on black economy in India. We were very close. We were discussing all the time. At some point of time, Shankar said to Chelaya, you have to give him time for doing his own work. Chelaya said, okay. Then what happened was that there was a gentleman who was a senior fellow who passed away. And his project was on sales tax in Madhya Pradesh. There was a younger fellow who was working on it and he was getting directionless. So it was decided that I will be given time. But in the meantime, in the faculty discussion, I said, you can't be just leaving him like that. Then he said, in that case, you have to take up the project. You can't say that you will go on holiday. Then I took the project. And Shankar was so furious with me that I argued for you case and you simply take another project. There's a small book on sales taxation in Madhya Pradesh, which is done by me and V.B. Tulsidhar. You moved to Asian Development Bank later. It was a very comrade sort of a thing. He was very affectionate. But the important thing is recognition. There is one occasion I want to mention. This is a contribution which doesn't matter whether my name comes in or not. I happened in 1992, after the Finance Commission, the reforms were over, Tax Reform Committee was set up. He went to the Ministry of Finance as advisor to the Finance Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh. And this agreement continued. Anything that I write, he would read. So I wrote a paper for the Asian Development Bank on taxation of services in Asia Pacific region.
Okay.
I sent it to him. We had another good colleague called Arindam Dasgupta. He didn't like the paper. He said, go and put it in the waste paper basket. But then, nevertheless, I sent it to Dr. Chelaya. Dr. Chelaya, in the evening, he calls me and says that, Govind, it was a Friday, come on Monday morning.
Okay.
You have to book your car and then come, because we used to have one vehicle only.
Okay.
I thought, I don't know what it's. Then he said, it's a brilliant paper. Send it.
Okay.
I have no comments on it. But then I want you to do something for me. I said, what? You have to write me a note on taxation services in India. Then I said, I'm stuck. I said, and he said, I will give you 10,000 rupees.
Okay.
Those days. I said, I don't want your 10,000 rupees. I will write the paper. But allow me to write it when I want to write it. Give me time. Because I knew him. He said, okay, if you don't want the money, you give to the institute. Okay. But then you write the paper. I thought I had bargained for time. 1 week, he calls me and says that, where is the paper?
Okay.
Then I said, I lost my money and I lost my time. Then I said, look, then he said, Govind, this is very important for me. I want you to do that. And he put one director in the Central Board of Excise and Customs called Gautam Ray to work with me. See, I started working on that. In 2 weeks' time, I had descended. Services, taxation services not mentioned in either the union list or in the state list. So by default, it goes as a union. You can go take it as union tax. Taxing services is important because you tax goods but not services. From neutrality point of view, you need to tax services. So arguing this way, I said the government of India should start with the service taxation, and to begin with, you start with 3 services: non-life insurance, stock brokerage, and telecom. And I didn't know. I wrote it and then made some estimate of what revenue could be and gave it to him. I didn't realize that it was important. For the first time in the 1993 budget, the service taxation was introduced on 3 services, and these are the 3 services.
This is before you went to Australia National University?
No. In the first instance, as I said, I joined here December 5th, 1977. 1981, I was still continuing. I went to University of Maryland because he sent on this. I went and worked with Professor Wallace Oates, the finest and the most important fiscal federalism expert.
Absolutely.
And we became very close friends thereafterwards. And there are papers where he refers to my paper works and things like that.
Okay.
So 1 year I was, in the University of Maryland. I came back and continued. 1987. No, at that time when I came back, there was ICSSR asked him to write a review article on research in fiscal federalism.
Okay.
He said, Govind, we will write together. So ultimately, I drafted the thing after a lot of discussions. Then he came up and said that, no, it should go as Govind Rao. I said, no, it has to be. Now, then he insisted that my name should come first. There is only one document where Govinda Rao and R.J. Chelaya. It is not Raja Chelaya and Govinda Rao. I mean, that's a small paragraph. But anyway, 1987 to 1990, I went on a leave to the Government of India as advisor to the 9th Finance Commission because he was a member. He wanted me to be a part of that. 1990, I came back, and 1994, 95, I left for Australia. Before leaving, there was some problem I had some health problem. So my visa got delayed. He said, very good. So he said, you now, I mean, there was a gentleman who was a member, there was a finance minister's committee on sales tax reform. And he was the convener. And he wanted me to be the secretary of that. I said, I am leaving and going, and why don't you? Then he said, you be here. And until the time you, then what I did, he said, before I go, he said, you should write the first draft of the introduction of value-added tax in the states and then go. And on the last day, after the last day, I finished the draft and went. That was a Sunday. He had come on a Sunday to see whether I am going to give it or not. That was but anyway.
I must applaud your incredible commitment and
No,
your memory.
1995, February end, I left for Australia until 1998. So that's the time the first part of the work stops. 1998 to 2002 I was in Australia. 2002 again, sort of I was appointed as a director of ISEC. So I came to ISEC December 2002, and 2002 December, from 1998 to 2002 I was in ISEC. 2002 January 1st I came here. That was the second phase. That was the most difficult phase of my life.
Okay. So we start from there. Now you are a director of NIPFP. This is 2003.
Yeah.
So what was, speaking of challenges during your tenure, how did you shape up those?
I went and discussed the matter with the finance secretary. There was one, Mr. Gupta, who was the finance secretary. And I also discussed with the revenue secretary at that, Chandrasekhar was the revenue secretary. They were sympathetic. Mr. Gupta said, why did you write a letter to me? Because they were pitiful.
Power,
I said, I will not write a letter. So the day I write a letter to you saying that we have a problem like this, please help me, I lose the independence of criticizing the government, saying that your finances are not proper. You can't manage the small institute finances, you tell me how to manage the country's finances. I mean, what moral right do you have? So I don't. So I said no. But then what I did is I took a big ADP project on a consultancy. I involved some of my friends from the IMF, retired. There was a person called Premchand. And involved him, did a project on consultancy. From the institute, I took only Pratap Jaina, nobody else. And because I didn't want to convert the institute into a consultancy firm, I beat the PricewaterhouseCoopers, Ernst & Young, KPMG, and got the project. And it was a $500,000 project. I executed the project in $450,000, saved the money, amounting to almost a little more than ₹1 crore, put the money in the institute account, and then loaned the money to the Provident Fund account and cleaned the space. But the point is, that was the biggest thing. From there onwards, I didn't look back. I had a tremendous relationship with the Ministry of Finance. They liked me. Even today, Chandrasekhar eventually became the cabinet secretary. And even today, he's in Kerala. Even today, we are in touch with each other. And he has a tremendous respect for me, and it's mutual. And there were also a lot of the Controller and Auditor General's objection to some of the scale of pay these people had given. So I had to deal with those. But when I was with all that, by the time there was one Adarsh Kishore who was the finance secretary. So I argued with him and said that I want to construct a building. And I said, I prepared the estimate saying they're 2.5 crores. And you'll be very surprised. They immediately said yes, 2.5 crores and 15% escalation on that if necessary.
Oh, wow, that's great.
And so, so that building was constructed by me.
Yeah,
That's the
I
next
am
level.
very curious to also know how did you balance your academic and your administrative responsibilities? How did you
No, I
just
had a very clear division of labor. The division of labor is that any administration that I had to do, I would do, and even any meeting, I would do from, something like 9:30 to 11.
hmm,
I would come to the office around 8:30.
hmm,
I would stay in the guest house here itself.
okay.
Come to the here at 11, 8:30,
Hmm,
8 to around 8:30 I would be here and go on. And once that is over, I would continue to attend some meetings, this, that, but then I
hmm,
would I used to do a lot of work in the nights. And
hmm.
my publications never stopped. I
Yeah,
continued to publish,
hmm,
and continue to do research.
hmm,
And, director's job is a job where a lot of sacrifices have to be made. It is
hmm,
not a job which is giving you name,
right.
because you have to look after everyone.
Absolutely.
And a lot of sacrifices have to be made. And so it's not, unless,
Hmm.
depends on the person, I guess.
Yeah. Hmm.
But so it was only,
Yeah.
but it was a very nice thing at that time, because the whole night is there. You can always work.
But yeah, so anything particular that you recall from your term as a director, like any particular thing that you want to highlight?
Uh, the particular thing that I want to highlight was that when I joined here, the morale of the youngest generation was very bad.
Hmm.
They didn't have projects. So I had to first make sure that they got
Engaged.
engaged.
Hmm.
That's one. And in a year's time, I wanted them to be scaled up,
Hmm.
so that you need to put the people in the right time. The second important thing that I did is I was always looking for people
Hmm.
with the capacity, and I wanted the people to,
Hmm.
as I said, end it the place. So I found out that Ila Patnaik was working in Indian Express. Just telephoned her and said that, what the hell are you doing there?
Hmm.
Then he said, you guys are doing public finance, I'm a macro person. I said, come and let us have a chat.
Hmm.
Got her. And then placed her before the selection committee and got her in. And within a few days,
Hmm.
Ajay Shah came in. And in the meantime, built the
New building.
and allowed complete freedom to the people to express.
Hmm.
And there was one occasion where Arvind Panagadia was coming home for dinner.
Hmm.
And suddenly I see in the evening, she was there with me,
Hmm.
Poonam Gupta rushing in.
Hmm.
And she was complaining that, oh, there were problems in the place that she was working, etc. Then Arvind told her that if you are really serious about working in an unhindered atmosphere,
Hmm.
ask Govind.
Okay.
And I was suddenly thinking, what is happening here? Then Sissy didn't say anything. After a month, she called and said, does the offer stand? I said, come
Okay.
over. So I put her before the selection committee, gave her the RBI chair. And she was supremely happy here.
Hmm.
She was here for 2.5 years until the time I was about to leave.
Yeah.
And there was a vibrancy in the institute.
Yes,
What it required
absolutely.
is vibrancy.
Hmm.
I wanted this vibrancy because when I was growing up, we had a vibrant atmosphere.
Hmm.
That vibrancy returned, that expansion in the institute's framework.
Yeah.
Earlier, you had only public finance, and public. Now, open economy, macroeconomics
Macroeconomics.
came into picture.
Absolutely.
And Ajay was able to negotiate with the Ministry of Finance to give them the advice.
Hmm.
And he built a law and economics group, some
Yeah.
10, 15 of them. I allowed them. I gave them because to the credit of Dr. Rangarajan, whatever I said, he said, just go ahead. That's one of the things. But creating a vibrant environment and creating a name
Yeah.
was the most important
Yeah.
this thing.
Yeah.
And I think the institute was really flourishing at the time. And there was plenty of money. Money was not a problem. I mean, it was when he, because of him, that FSLRC people wanted the secretary to be placed here. Financial Sector Legislative Reforms Commission.
Okay.
That, so the new building, one room was meant for the chairman, Justice Sri Krishna.
Okay.
And everybody was happy. The point is, people were happy, they were happy to contribute.
Yeah.
No, that was the most important. And there was never no interference.
So, NIPFP, like with your incredible leadership, NIPFP flourished in those years. So, what are your thoughts on the legacy that NIPFP has carried on in terms of research or projects in association with states?
There were several. As I said, there was a collaborative arrangement with the Department of Economic Affairs and NIPFP to give them continuous advice on capital flows. That's one of the things. There was one major project, and that was preparing a vision document for the Northeastern region.
Okay.
I had to take the entire project, was preparing the vision document for the Northeast, because the institute credibility is important. There is that became a very famous work at that time. The other major important work that came up was, I mean, that is the time when the GST was going on. The first work on GST, preparing the revenue neutral rate, was done at the instance of a commissioner from commercial taxes in Karnataka. And he came and I asked Pinaki to start working on that. And he was interacting. He eventually became the Secretary Department of Economic Affairs, Ajay Sheth. And Ajay contributed, but then Pinaki did that work. And Ajay presented it in the Empowered Committee. They said that for the entire country this work should be done for all the states.
Okay.
So we had to take over. So the revenue neutral rate calculation was done. Eventually, Kavita was asked to work on that. There was a major study on the black economy in India, which was interested to Kavita. I mean, she carried on with the work. And there were lots of great works that were done. And as I said, FSLRC work, the entire work was done by us. And, this Dr. Chidambaram used to be, Mr. Chidambaram, the finance minister, used to be fond of the institute. And he would, oftentimes there are at least 3 occasions where I had to call him to the institute.
Okay.
And he would come 15 minutes early and say that, Govinda,
Just
I'm
have a
sorry,
word with you.
I thought there would be more traffic. There was not much of a traffic, so I'm here. I mean, that's the type
fondness.
of atmosphere that we had.
Yeah.
Very, very friendly finance department.
Yeah.
And very helpful. And of course, because they were getting a lot of things from,
Yeah.
particularly on the value-added tax, and in preparing the black economy study.
Yeah.
And then Arvind Panvadia came and said that, we want some collaboration from Columbia University. We had 2 major projects. And there is a book where Arvind, Pinaki and myself produced the Growth and Development of Indian States, published with Oxford. And there was another book called Making Miracles in Indian States.
So, having done so much of work in your tenure, so what do you think that how should NIPFP take this legacy forward, and what are the future areas of research that the institute should take up? I'm sure you have answered that questions many times, but I still want to reiterate you in this podcast.
Well, as I said, challenges galore. And you will have to continue to work. One of the major things is the fiscal problems will continue to persist, and you will have to continue to work on those. At the state level, everybody is focusing on deficit and debt. Macroeconomic stabilization is predominantly a central function. It matters to the states only to the extent that the interest payments have to be paid.
Hmm.
But their major job is to providing public services according to the preferences of the people.
Absolutely.
And there, particularly on education and healthcare, there's a lot of work needs to be done. And there, in fact, if you see the inequality, per child spending on education in Bihar is 1/4 of what you have in Kerala. Now, if your education inequality, if you increase, the income inequalities will multiply.
Absolutely.
So you do need to really work on that. The other major area that we will have to start working very seriously is on climate financing. And that's on that, I don't think much has been done. The whole issue of environment, there are institutions, but then the public finance part of this thing, is, you do need to really start working on. And at the union level, the basic question still remains. I wrote a book in Studies in Indian Public Finance in 2022. It's published by the Oxford University. I start with a question. Why do you need a government? Now, your public finance starts only if you have a government. Now, the question is, what is the role of the government? The government doesn't do what it should, and it does what it should not. Okay, there's a lot more of work that needs to be done, and that's public economics. Even there, what is happening is that because the government went on starting its own enterprises, regulation has been a problem. So we do need to start working on regulation. So there are many, many areas where you are needed. And as I said, until the time, you can't just take rest until the time the reform is done. And when you finish one, there will be many more.
Yeah. So we'll end it, sir, here. Thank you so much for your
welcome.
patience
Most
and for your
welcome.
time.